Good morning, my fellow yogic travelers. I'm mighty glad to be alive today, and I hope that you are too, as we continue to live, laugh, love, learn, linger, and live the life we love. This little Dharma rant is from a workshop I call Sharpening the Edge. Of course, a lot of people think it has to do with going further in your asana practice, which in some way it does, but that's not really the purport of I'm trying to get across. When you come out of the closet spiritually and you're living for spirit, which is not a psychotic ideation, the first thing you have to overcome is the fallacy of separating the mystical life from the ordinary life. If you don't know how to see what's extraordinary and the extraordinary, you'll never understand what I'm saying. Now, part of the problem is that our thinking is split from not just our feeling nature, but for the fact that life is a simultaneous, ongoing process, multidimensional, all at once, and thinking tends to abstract you from that process instead of helping you to be immersed in it and relate to it through relationship, because to be means to be related. Everything is hitched to everything else. You can't separate anything once you get to this deep level of unitive experience. Now, again, I never say that you have to have a teacher. It's not a necessity. But one of the things about having a teacher is, number one, they have a form. They're not just teaching concepts. They're showing you something practical, whether it's throwing a pot or calligraphy or hatha yoga asana. And there's something about their immersion in it that their life itself is far too convincing to be overlooked. There's just something about the power of a human being who's that deep into what they're doing that's very inspirational, if that's your thing. And that's why you follow the form. You have something to practice and not just the concepts or the theory behind the form. Besides, you have to awaken to the fact that many well-known concepts are false, like the sun going up and the sun going down. That doesn't really happen. The earth turns on its axis, and that's why it appears that the sun disappears and then comes back again. So that's just an example of so many things that we take for granted in our life, and they're misnomers. Right? We misperceive what's really going on. And so that should be open us to a certain kind of humility, like, I don't know, and I'm ready to learn. The other things that you're learning in how to sharpen your edge is, don't take your life for granted. When I say I'm glad to be alive every day, I mean it. Every day that you go to sleep, you're sleeping on your deathbed. You don't know whether or not you're going to get up. In the Jewish tradition, the first thing you're supposed to do when your eyes open in the morning, you realize your soul has been returned to you, is you say, Ani modeh ani. I'm so glad. I'm so grateful that I'm here again. Thanks for restoring my soul. So that kind of sharpens it. You don't have time to waste, even though they say hasten slowly and you'll soon arrive, but you want to make every day count. And so death becomes an advisor on your left shoulder that never bullshits you. The other thing is that it awakens you to your sensate experience. Forget about some spiritual, transcendental world of make-believe that may or may not exist only in your imagination. And I always say, have a romance with your imagination, but at the same time, experience what has emanated into form. And through every sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell, have the sensate erotic experience of your connection with being and life in all its glorious multitudinous forms. Now, of course, the idea that we're ignorant of our true nature means that we desire to be liberated by that which normally catches us unawares. So if we're slothful, if we're lazy, if we don't want to make the effort, very highly unlikely that it'll happen. And then you also stay preoccupied with your own neurotic traits, with your own self-judgments about this is too big, this is too small, I started too late, I started too early, I had too much parental supervision, I didn't have enough parental supervision. Whatever it is, you can find something to blame. But the idea is, when you're practicing, your practice, sadhana in yoga, the corpus of techniques you use to work on yourself, it takes you straight to the goal. It's really simple. Success comes to one who practices, not to one who practices not. So practice. There's a suffering that comes from practicing and a suffering that comes from not practicing. Choose the suffering that comes from practicing. And then you understand, by learning how to adjust your body, or your attempt to adjust your body to the words of the teacher, you realize that there's a correspondence between what they're saying and how your experience actually turns out in reality. And then whatever you learn on the mat becomes a prototype for a direct experience in your life. And of course, it's a creative one too. It's not just a stagnant one of continuing to do the same old, same old. So I hope that you all count your blessings, learn to go the extra mile, realize you have the power to choose, and recharge your battery, because You're going to meet a lot of people, and for so many people, you just regard them as a drain, and then you want to not be involved with them. But each person has a beauty of their own, just like you do, and the others also have a storyline, just like you do. So I hope you find that and see the love that's there. Share your gift, and remember, you're beautiful.